friends, it's Kara here, and I apologize about last night. I'll tell you a funny story while I'm tearing this edge off of my mixed media paper, which I'm just using. Let me show you my mixed media pad. I don't have the cover anymore because I painted over it, but it's just a mixed media pad. It's like, I want to say like 10 bucks at Hobby Lobby, but it's a nice quality paper that you can do acrylic painting on. You can do watercolor. It's just kind of an all-purpose when I want to do a cheap, inexpensive, creative project. I can jump on and use this. So, good morning, everyone. So, here's my funny story. So, you know I do the box of the month, so the home decor box. Well, I planned my box out based on a piece of scrapbook paper. That was the inspiration. So, I planned it out based on a piece of scrapbook paper. Well, I bought everything Hobby Lobby had, and then I special ordered the rest of what I needed. Well, with all this craziness with the weather, the shipment that had my paper order in it got canceled. So I called yesterday and I was like, hey, do you have it yet? I'm ready to start like getting these boxes together. And they said, I'm really sorry, but I have no idea when it's finally gonna come. So I called 3 Hobby Lobbies within about an hour, hour and a half of me yesterday. And at the last minute, the kids and I took off to Columbus to go buy, get this, 15 sheets of paper. We had to drive an hour to buy 15 sheets of paper. But praise the Lord, they had it. Now we can do our boxes. So that's why I wasn't live last night. So I apologize. Now, I did create this printable for you. You can put graphite paper underneath it and trace it right on, or you can kind of create your own, maybe mix up the lettering, maybe try to do the exact same lettering, but do it yourself, however you want to do it. I'm going to redraw this instead of using my graphite paper. And if you're new and you're like, what is this paper? You can see how many times I've used it. It comes in, I buy it from Amazon in a pack, and you get like, it's like $7 for 10 sheets or something. And you can use it over and over and over again. So what I like to do when I'm doing my lettering, and if I don't know exactly how I want it to work, is I use tracing paper, which is see-through. Let me get a sheet out and show you. Okay, so I use tracing paper. And you can see, like right here, where I've practiced, and I've actually taped. After I've gotten the words the way I want them, I've taped them where I wanted, and then I can go right to my graphite paper, and I can transfer that onto my door hanger, my canvas, whatever it is I'm doing. So that's the way that I tend to hand letter. I practice first. Good morning, Diana. So that's kind of how I do it, and I love, like, this paper is cheap, this is cheap, this mixed media paper is cheap. Like, these are good supplies to have on hand for when you just want to do something fun and creative. Now, I'm using plain old Crayola markers, pencils, and Sharpies today. So nothing fancy, nothing fancy. All right, so let's get started. And I am really shaky this morning, so bear with me because I'm probably going to have to go over these lines a couple times. But this is essentially what I'm doing. Like I said, you can trace it with your graphite paper if you want to. I'm just going to kind of start, actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to cut mine apart. I'm going to cut this apart so I know the spacing. Let's do that. All right, I'm going to take Happy. I'm going to set it right here. Then I'm going to set this down. Now I'm going to work on lettering Happy. But I want to letter it right here in the space, okay? So one of the things with this is the straight lines are not straight. They're a little bit curved. So that's going to make a big difference when you style your letters to do little things like curving or making them very straight, just kind of varying that. So then that one's curved. So I'm going to do this one straight. And then my H line is all the way up here. Okay, so with this, if you can see, but we have different, sometimes all of our crossbars will come up to the same. So like this A, some fonts, it would bring it all the way up here, and this would be shorter. And this would be up here. but this one varies. I love this, how it's skinny up here, and then it's skinny down here, and then it's skinny down here and down here, and then it's skinny back up here. I don't know if that makes sense, but those little bitty nuances when you're doing your lettering are what give it a ton of character. Okay, so I'm going to look at this next letter. I'm going to study it. I've got a curve and then straight. Okay, this little piece comes in just slightly, so I'm going to do that. Come down here, curve, straight, and then bring it in just very slightly. And then I'm going to do my A down here. Now, another thing with different lettering is you can bring these tails out. Like you could bring them down. You could do little marks across the tops, across all the bars, however you want to do it. But those little things are what are going to make your lettering really stand out. All right, so another curved line. And then this is a kind of like an oval. I made that a little bit too close. Let me bring that out a little bit more. Okay, so there's one P. And we'll go back and thicken these lines. We're just getting the shape right now. And you have to really think about your lettering as shapes, because that's essentially what you're creating. So like we have a curved line, and then we have like a half moon. All right, and then this, we're gonna do, we're up higher now. We're gonna bring this, and then I love the way this tail curls in and then comes up. Okay, so you're kind of filling that space right there. All right, so we've got happy. Now we're gonna do spring. Now that I've got this kind of laid out, I know my S needs to start right here. So I'm gonna put a mark. And then my G top is gonna be right there. So I'm gonna put those. I'm gonna set this off to the side. I'm gonna work on recreating it. Really, when you're lettering, it's all about practicing and getting comfortable, changing it up. You might letter something and be like, oh my gosh, I hate that. Well, you know what? Start over. All right, so there's our S. Now, one thing I'll show you is on this P, it's actually coming up from right here. So it's not coming from right here. We're actually we're making that shape, this oval, from right here, okay? So you're not going to come up here and make that. You're going to start down here so that it has this V. Okay, so the next one I'm going to do, I'm going to bring this down, which it has a curve just like these do. So we're going to bring this down past my S. And then we're going to come right here and we're going to do the rest of the P. Okay. We're going into an R, so the R is going to be up here. So we need to make sure instead of coming across and pulling this straight that we make it go up. All right, so now I'm going to go right here. I'm going to make a big loop. And I'm going to bring it just like that. Now I'm going to drop it down. Now, if you look right here, if you've taken the lettering, if you're in the virtual paint party and you've gone through the lettering workshops, I have a workshop specifically on bouncing your letters. And what that means is, let's draw a line right here. Okay, let's say that's our line. If you bounce your letters, things will come down below that line that normally would not. So if I was just writing, let's say I'm gonna write spring in cursive. I'm gonna tell you how different this will look. I'm gonna keep the same style, but I'm gonna keep all of it right there where it's supposed to be. And I want to show you the difference. Same style. Oh, I shouldn't have done that because that's bouncing. All right, so N and then G. Okay, so I want to show you all the places on here that I bounced. All right, so I'm going to draw a line right here, because this would be, if we were using paper like the kids would use in kindergarten, which, work with me for just a second. I'm not calling y'all kindergartners. I just want to take this back so that you'll understand. It's a quick bouncing lesson. So they have two lines, but then they have this line that goes through here. And this line is supposed to tell them just like this. Let me do it right here. This is supposed to tell them where to bring this letter up to. Okay, so that's uniform. So when you're bouncing, you're coming down below this line, you can come up above this line, and you can break the rules with this line. So like for the N, see how that bounced up above that line? And how this little tail from the G bounced above that line, and how the R and the I came down under that line? And then this right here, this R part, went above the line. So that's bouncing. That's how you get just a lot of good, character to your lettering. So that's what we're doing. We're bouncing our letters. So here we are. This comes up above, because if we had our invisible line, it would be right there under happy. Then we've got that R loop that is above where it should be. Now we're going to bring our tail down. So we're going to come down, not all the way down to where the bottom of the P is. We're going to come right there, come back up, and you see how I lift my pencil every time, because each one of these is an individual stroke. We're going to do this, and then we're going to do this. We're going to bring this part just about to where the bottom of the P is, so that's going to stay on the right line, but then we're going to bounce from right here. See right here how they came all the way down here? They didn't do it from right here. Completely changes the look. We have another V, kind of like with our P. All right, so we're going to go up above that line, come down, go right under it, just barely, and now we're going to do our G. So now our G, we're going to come right here. Now I know it's not connected. Just give me a minute. We're going to bring this tail up here with this N, and then we're going to swoop down. Now this one is not going to go as far as the P. It's going to go right here with this. So let's go. Okay, so there's our basic lettering. Now I'm going to show you how we're going to make it pop like this. We're going to go ahead and thicken our downstrokes. I'm using black because that's what I had and it shows up best on camera. But with this being a spring little thing, and I know like cactuses are not super springy, but I thought we could do fun spring colors with our cactus and then accent in black. I just thought it'd be a lot of fun. So, okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start tracing out. All of your downstrokes are thick. So I'm going to do all my downstrokes first. And I'm just thickening those downstrokes. Then our stroke across is thin. Now I'm going to do this. This is an upstroke, so it's thin. But this is going to be the downstroke, so it's going to be thick. So I'm going to go ahead and thicken that so you can see. All right, so that's how we're going to thicken. Right here, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to thicken just like that. Here, because I've got more space on this side, I'm going to thicken on the outside. I'm going to go this way, and I might have to come down that way. And then here's a downstroke. So we're going to do down, and then here's a downstroke. So this whole part, we're going to kick it out right here. We're going to bring it down. And you see how it'll go from thick to narrow? That's how we're going to do that part. Now let's do this one. Okay, so up here is thin. But then when it comes down here, it's going to get thick. All right, so we're going to thicken here. All right, so that's thickening our P. We're going to come down here. We're going to thicken this one. We're going to go up. This part's going to be thick. Let's thicken that. And we'll go back and fill all this in so you can see what it looks like. This is up. This is down. So we're going to be thick right here. And we're going to go across. And we're going down. So we're going to come down, it's going back up. We're going to thicken this, and then down, and then up. And then we're gonna thicken this. We need to thicken that eye because it was a downstroke. We're going up, down, we're gonna thicken right there. Now I did connect that, see that? So where I lifted my pencil and it didn't connect with my G because I wanted my G in that spot, I just fixed it right there. Now y'all's is probably gonna be a lot smoother than mine. Mine is just a little bit, my trimmer is just really bad today. So I'm just a little bit shaky. And that causes me to hold my pencil a lot harder just because I'm trying to control. And that ends up not helping me at all. All right, so I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna come up. So my downstrokes, I was here, I came down. So this part of the G needs to thicken. Now this came down. So all of this needs to thicken just like that Y. But you don't wanna lose the separation right here from the tail. So if you have to, you can go to the inside. All right, so now I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna brighten up all of this lettering. We're gonna bring it to life. And what's fun is by having these thick areas, you could even use like a white Posca pen and you could go back and put dots in those thick areas. You can do so much fun stuff. You could, instead of coloring this in like I am, you could leave it white and you could do polka dots. You could do swirls. I mean, you can do whatever. It's just, there's so much you can do with lettering. The main thing is to make sure that you're doing little things like curving your letters to add style, thickening your downstrokes, varying where your lined your crossbars are. Little things like that, bouncing your letters, all of that will add so much dimension and character to your letters. All right, so there's happy. Now let me fill in spring. I've already done all the hard work. Now I just need to come back and color it in, smoothen it out a little bit. And I wanted to address the elephant in the room. Some of you wanted the Easter workshop, which we can still do. But I only had, I think, 13 people say yes. And my goal, if that was going to be a yes, was 30, just because there's over 100 of us in the group. And so I would say if y'all want that workshop for next month as your kind of your bonus workshop, just make sure you go to that post and say yes. And y'all can get access to that instead of a lettering workshop next month. But I'm happy to do a lettering workshop too. It's whatever you want. Now, let me show you. I should have put, before I started doing this, I should have put a piece of paper under here. I didn't. So I've got some marks in here. So just for FYI for yourself, you might want to put a scrap piece of paper or two between your sheets so that your marker doesn't bleed through. All right, I've got to sneeze, y'all. Sorry, give me just a second. Oh, okay, thanks. Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay, I don't know how to mute the camera or mute the volume when I do that. All right, let's finish coloring this in, and then we're gonna have some fun with a cactus, which I know in the picture it doesn't look super springy, but we're gonna add some flowers and just bring a little bit of color in. Into this. And what I was gonna do is I'm gonna sketch it out with my pencil, and then I'm gonna wait and add black accents with my thin Sharpie or any type of like waterproof pen that you have. I'm gonna bring black accents in, so it is gonna be a lot more springy color wise. by using my markers. All right, so let's get started on that part. All right, so I've got these two lines are just like the curved lines here. We're just kind of starting here and coming down. Let's see. All right, no, it's a little bit hard to see. All right, and then this is just going to connect. This is going to connect. Now, these are super easy to draw, and you could even do different, you could do spikes. You could do mix and match. So like, let me show you what that might look like. Let's do it down here. All right, draw a new flower pot. So you could do like the spiky cactus and have some of those. And then you could have the more curved ones. Bring those up. These almost look like Mickey Mouse ears. You could do one right here, and then you could erase this line in the middle so that it has kind of a 3D effect. You could come over here and you could do like, almost like the mini succulent, the pieces that, you know, hang off. Like, I always say they look like peas. Y'all know what I'm talking about? But I mean, you can really dress this up however you want to do it. So I would just kind of work on that and fill that in. You could make rocks. You could have it so that there's, you know, some rocks filled in, gaps here. You could have, we could bring this cactus almost like there's another one kind of behind it. Could do that. And then when you start adding the little, like the V's for the cactus, which I did that wrong. These need to go this way. But when you start adding those, it just adds a lot of character. Okay, so you don't have to do it like this. You can do it however you want. You can look, you know, look online and look at watercolor cactus or watercolor succulents, and you could, you know, make your pot look a little bit more, I don't know, different. All right, so I'm gonna keep going here. I'm gonna do it like this, since this is the one that I gave y'all to trace. Because I know some of you get a little bit nervous when you have to freehand. So I was trying to give y'all a traceable this morning. I think I went a little bit too big with that. This one is gonna need to go, I think that one a little bit taller. All right, now let's add some of these Mickey Mouse ears. And I've got one poking out from behind here. And then I've got one up here. And then I've got this little one jutting out. And then one peeking off of there. All right, so there's our base of our cactus. I don't want to make that any darker because I want to go into my markers. Now, if you have watercolors and you'd rather use watercolors, you can totally do that. If you have watercolor pencils, just get creative with this, okay? So I'm gonna outline. I'm gonna outline these with my marker. And then I need to figure out what color I want my flower pot to be. I want this to be bright and springy, so I think I'm gonna do like pink and yellow. I think what I'll do is I'm gonna kind of draw lines across here. And I think I'll do like pink, yellow, pink, yellow. All right, so I'm gonna do pink on the first one. I'm not gonna do the whole thing pink. I'm just gonna kind of fill in some top. I'm gonna do pink right here. I forgot to bring a water cup in here. I have to call my kiddos and say, please. All right, I'm gonna draw that bottom. Okay, so there's some pink, and we might go back and add more. But right now, that's all I'm gonna do. And if you have this set of markers too, you can add extra shades of pink in there. So like I could do, this is kind of a brighter pink. I could kind of mix some of that in here. And then I'm gonna do, I said yellow, so let's do yellow. All right, so I'm down here, I'm gonna do yellow. I'm not filling the whole thing in, just kind of randomly placing some yellow. I kind of went heavy with my yellow. Now, one thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come up here and I'm gonna add some yellow. I am getting some on my tips, so I'll need to like write that off on a piece of paper here. But see, by grabbing some of that green with my yellow marker, I actually have like a really fun, I don't know, just a new shade of green just by using my Crayola markers. I'm gonna do a little bit right here. I'm just kind of bringing that color in a few places. Now, if you say, Carrie, you're ruining your marker. Okay, I hear you, I know. But these markers are super inexpensive and you can literally get all of the green back off just by doing this. Just work with it for a few minutes, okay? So don't panic. All right, get some, ooh, that looks pretty. You can see all these different shades that you can create with just those two markers. All right. Okay, so got all those. Let me get some of that green off my tip. Look at that, it's almost gone already. Okay, so got all that. I'm gonna grab I wish I had a new cup of water in here. Can I come right back? Let me ask my kiddo real quick to grab me a fresh cup of water. Hey, bud, can you get me a little cup of water, please? Just regular water real quick. Thank you. Okay, I'm sorry. He's gonna go get that. And then we're gonna do some blending. And one thing we'll do while I wait is down here along the bottom, you could pick like if this is sitting on a table or whatever you want it to be sitting on. I think I want mine to kind of look like it's sitting on the ground. So I'm gonna get brown and I'm just gonna kind of mark it in right here, just so it looks like it's sitting on something and not free floating. You could also add polka dots. I mean, you could do whatever you want into this. All right, as soon as he brings me the water, we'll bring this home. Another thing you can do if you don't want to put a paper under there, which is just open it up. Thank you, love bug. All right, so I've got my water. I'm gonna dip just a regular paintbrush. Now, I like using rounded brushes, and if you have these special watercolor pens or paintbrushes, these work really good because they already have water inside of them. But I know not everybody has these, so I kind of wanted, and you just squeeze and the water goes to the tip, which is super awesome. But since not everybody has these, I was just gonna use some regular paintbrushes in a couple different sizes. But I want them to have kind of stiff pointed tips so I can control where the water goes. The more water you have, the more watered down your paint color is gonna, or your colors are gonna get. So I'm just kind of going in here in a circular motion. Not too much water, but I'm just kind of bringing that. You'll see that? And I'm just kind of bringing those colors to the middle. I get a little bit more water and do it over here. I'm grabbing some of that dark green, kind of smudging it. And come over here. Now, if you drop your color, it's going to end up dry and darker in those spots, and it's going to look really cool. So you can drop a little bit of that in. Mark that up. And then we're going to go here. Now, some of those spots I left quite a bit more yellow than others. And you could use a smaller brush if you want more detail. Let's show you. Okay, so that's what it looks like right now. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to work on my flower pot. Just kind of blend these together. So we have some lighter and darker. And this just kind of takes that hard line that I created and it makes it more like watercolor. Okay, so I'm gonna go down here. You see how now that's not so, like, it's not like I just scribbled. I'll show y'all. Isn't it looking pretty? Y'all let me know what you think. Oh, Wendy says she loves it. Wendy, did you get your garland yesterday? It showed me it was out for delivery. And I was really sad because you ordered, I think I had just gone and delivered everything to UPS in the post office that day. So yours didn't go out the first day. So sorry about that. Okay, friends, seriously, how easy is this? Now I can still see some of those darker lines, but now it looks like I watercolored it. I guess because I kind of did. All right, so I'm gonna grab this and go do this yellow. Now, if you wanted to, you could add a little bit of orange. That's another color that would look pretty with that yellow. All right. Okay, so I've got my watercolor part done. I think I want to add a little bit more color up here, but I can't do it while it's wet. So I'm going to blow dry real fast. Sorry, that wasn't on your supply list. Now, another thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to bring some color into our lettering with a marker. I want it to complement these. So I think we're going to just stick with the pink. So what I'm going to do is it's kind of like, and I'll go in and do some more stuff to this in just a minute. I'm just making sure that's all the way dry. But when you're doing like shadowing on your lettering, you always want to shadow to the same side. And whether like go left and top or left and bottom. Wendy, yes, Wendy, you got your garland 3 days ago, but Wendy Schultz was still waiting on hers yesterday. So I sent her tracking. But so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go left and down. So I'm gonna right here, just real thin on this side. I'm gonna do left, left, and down. So this will have a little bit because it's a down. Can y'all see that? So left, left, and down. Now, this one, left, left, and down. All right, so we're just gonna do that for all of our lettering. Oh no, you're fine, Wendy. You're totally fine. Totally fine. I just, I had seen your pictures and I loved them, and the other Wendy was like, where's my garland? All right, so I'm just going left, just a thin line, and down. So I'm just kind of hitting it underneath. And then down. I hope y'all enjoy this workshop. This is, I love to just sit down with inexpensive supplies and just play and learn. And I hope that's what y'all get from this. Something besides a door hanger, something that you could just, if you were, you know, visiting someone in the hospital or going on a road trip, these are super easy supplies, especially if you have one of these. This is super easy project that you can just pretty much do anywhere. I would always take mine to wrestling practice. I'd take my little either watercolors or my markers and take them to wrestling practice, and while the boys were getting all sweaty and stinky, I was creating some art. All right, so bottom and down, or left and down, sorry. All right, so we added just a little bit of color over here. I'm not going to smudge that with the water. I'm gonna leave that just like that. Yes, I hope y'all will come back and do it. And friends, don't feel like you have to do it just like this. You might want to use different colors. Show me like use this as a bouncing off point. All right, so I'm gonna go in here. I'm gonna see what other markers I have. I think I have some other greens. Let's see if I have, what else is in here? I have, you know what I have? I have some colored pencils. I could even do that. So I'm gonna come in here and use my colored pencil and add some of these little V's, and that'll just give another green color in there. You don't want to rip your paper, so you got to be a little bit careful. You could do this like floral, you could do a heart, you could do all kinds of stuff. This is to just give y'all an idea of what you can do with these supplies. And then with our lettering workshop, I just wanted to kind of talk y'all through all the different things that you can do with your letters. All right, so there we have our cactus. Now I'm gonna grab my really thin Sharpie. This is where people are like, oh, I don't wanna do this. And I'm just gonna kind of add, oh, this one's not writing very well. I'm just gonna kind of add some strokes in here. I'm gonna add more on the left than on the right. I'm just kind of coloring in, almost adding a shading, kind of like I did on the letters. I wish I had one that wrote better though. I'm looking. Okay, so I'm gonna do the same thing over here. I'm just gonna add some to these left sides of the cactus. And it kind of gives a scribbly look. Let me show you. Kind of gives a scribbly look. And I'm doing more in the top left. And I'm gonna do a little bit more right here. I'm gonna do a little bit down here. And then you can even kind of accent those lines. And just kind of bring it all together. So now we have a little bit of black mixed in with our cactus to bring our black in from our lettering. If you did a different color with your lettering, you could, you know, use that for your accent. But just kind of coming in here and highlighting with your smaller pen. And it has to be a waterproof pen if you're gonna mark on it before you put the water on. If you're gonna mark on it afterwards, you can use whatever. But just kind of highlighting and adding a little bit of dimension with that darker color. And if, like I said, if you had a white Posca pen and you wanted to go back and add dots to your lettering or anything like that, you could thicken these lines even more so that you could do fun stuff with them. Add a little bit more scribbly. I love that look. I love the look of almost like motion on your painting. All right, friends, I think that's it. That's where we're gonna stop. But I hope that y'all enjoyed that. I would love to see yours, even if it's not anything like this. Guys, just show me. Practice your lettering, practice being creative, and show me, and make sure you hashtag it so that you'll get entries to our giveaway. All right, friends, love y'all. See you later. Hope you have a fabulous day.